Welcome to video 3.4D, a proof involving an altitude. So here's example 3. So sometimes what I like to do is first mark up what I'm trying to prove, and that helps my brain process better when I mark up the givens. It's like, which direction am I going? So let me model that. OM, which is here, I'm trying to get congruent to NP, which is right there. Okay, so I'm just looking for two segments, hopefully segments of triangles. Hopefully I can get triangles congruent, CP, CTC. That's all racing through my head right now. Okay, so given angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Okay, HP is congruent to MJ. So HP is this little chunk here, is congruent to MJ, that's that little chunk there. NP is an altitude of triangle NHJ, so that means that this is a right angle here. And OM is an altitude of triangle OHJ, which means that this is a right angle right there. Okay. Trying to get these question marks to be congruent. Okay, well, now the big question is, which triangles should I try to get congruent? I've got super big left, super big right, super small bottom, super small top, and medium left, medium right. You might say, hey, what about super small bottom and top? I've got a side here, I basically have an angle there. I just need one more piece of information, but I don't really see how that's gonna happen. Let's try taking a look at this triangle here and this triangle there. Okay, so I do have an angle here. I do have an angle here. I do have an angle here and an angle here. Okay, so I got two angles. I'd love to get a side. And this is where it's kind of confusing. So I got this angle and this angle. I've got a little chunk here and a little chunk here. Ooh, there's a common segment in between. Hey, if I took this same segment and added it to this congruent segment and to that congruent segment, then the sums would be congruent. If the same segment is added to congruent segments, then the sums are congruent. So I could get this side of the blue triangle to be congruent to that side of the black triangle. Game over. Angle, side, angle. ASA. And once I get that, CPCTC to get the parts. So the hard part in these problems is, which triangle do I want to get congruent? Okay, so that exercise I just went through is how you go about doing it. Okay, so now that I know it's ASA, I'm going to do my proof in ASA order. So let's start with the angle. They gave me 1 to 2. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 given. I get angle credit there. Now I'm going to go with the sides. So they did give me that chunk to that chunk. So that would be right here. HP congruent to MJ given. I do not get side credit. That's not the entire side of the triangle I care about. Now I'm going to state this. Segment HM is congruent to segment JP. All I did was I added that common segment. Reason, if same, I want to emphasize same segment added, again I need that word added, to congruent segments, then sums congruent. I want to emphasize that word as well. And that will give me side credit. So once again, side of left triangle, side of the black triangle to the right. And then the angle, it's kind of hard to see. So this angle there and that angle there, that was given from the altitude. So for 4, NP is an altitude of triangle NH, and OM is an altitude of triangle OJ. That was given. And then from that I can get the right angles. If altitude, then right angle. You could also say if altitude, then perpendicular, whichever route you want to go. The definition had both. All right, so I'll say angle, let's be careful here. Angle NPM is a right angle. And also, I'll go angle OMP is a right angle. So let me just make sure I did that correctly. So NPM and OM, I'm gonna go OMH, just as part of it. And I'll say if altitude, then I get a right angle. Oh, and then if I got right angles, they're congruent. So 6, angle NPM is congruent to angle OMH. If right, then congruent. If right angles, then congruent. Now I get credit for the A. And again, if in a test you kind of know where it's going but can't put everything down, just put what you can put down to get partial credit. Okay, so now I can get the triangles congruent. So triangle, well, I'll just go triangle OMH is congruent to triangle. If I went OMH, I would go NPJ. And that would be by angle, side, angle. And then I think I can get OM, first 2 letters, to NP, first 2 letters, by CP, So now OM is congruent to NP by CP, I understand there's a lot going on here, but just practice would help. So there you have it, a proof with altitudes.